This video shows more fraction division and goes along with 6th grade CPM, Chapter 7, Section 2, Lesson 2. Okay, what we were looking at in this lesson is very similar to what we did yesterday. It's just another strategy to divide. So here's what that looks like. And remember, we're showing you multiple strategies so you can learn which one works best for you. So what we were looking at here is 4/3 divided by 2/5. And what they were showing is that you can take something like 4/3 and divide it by 2, which will give you 2/3. And you got the 2 from the numerator. And then what you can do is take the denominator and you can multiply that fraction by the denominator and then solve it. So 2 times 5 is 10 over 3, which we would then simplify down to 3 1/3. And the rule that they're trying to get you to is you can have that initial fraction and then divided by the numerator and then multiply it by the denominator. And I know that's going to confuse some of you. It's a strategy that works for some and it won't work for others, and that's okay. But do try that one as we go. So if we had a problem such as 2/3 divided by 3/5, try that one and see what it would look like as you solve it. Okay, this one gets a little bit confusing, which I realized after I wrote the problem. Okay, so you have 2/3 divided by 3/5, so you're going to take your 2/3, which is your initial fraction, divide it by the numerator, which is 3. Remember, 3 is the same as 3 over 1, which is the same as 2/3 times the reciprocal, which gives you 2 times 1 is 2, 3 times 3 is 9, and then multiply it by the denominator, which is 5, so you have 5 over 1. 2 times 5 is 10, 9 times 1 is 9, and you simplify it down to 1/9. Okay. Again, I realize that this method is a little bit more confusing for many of you, but not for all of you. If it works for you, go for it. If not, try another method. So there are 2 problems I want you to try on your own, and then I'll show you a couple ways that you can solve them. Here's the first one, 5/8 divided by 2/7. Okay, here are 3 different ways that you could solve this problem. First, I showed you multiplying by the reciprocal, which gets you 2 3/16. Then I showed you the way that we talked about today, where you multiply it by the numerator, divide it by the numerator first, and then multiply it by the denominator, which still gets you 2 3/16. Or we could do another way from yesterday, where you find the common denominator, in this case 56, and then divide left to right. So 35 divided by 16 gives you 35 over 16. 56 divided by 56 gives you 1, and we still end up with 2 3/16. Pause the video and take a moment to look over my work and see if that lines up with how you solved your problem in your notebook. Okay, try one more, whichever way you prefer. 3/6 divided by 4/2. Okay, I did the same thing here, where the first one in yellow, we showed you multiplying by the reciprocal, which gets you 6/24 and a solution of 1/4. Here we divided by the numerator and then multiplied by the denominator to get the same solution, 1/4. And here we looked for common denominators, in this case 6, divided left to right and got the same solution, 1/4. You notice with the first 2 we got 6/24 that we simplified, and here we got 3/12, which we simplified, and that's part of why we always want to simplify our fractions.